It could be said that Treyarch is the most universally respected developer in the COD franchise in its current state. Many hardcore fans would say that the studio has never released a bad game, and therefore they are glad that 2018 is the year that Black Ops 4 will be released, as there's more on the line than ever before. So welcome back everybody, and today we're going to be taking a brief but thorough look at the evolution of Treyarch Call of Duty titles, which is going to be mainly from a multiplayer perspective. As you might expect, we're not going to include the first 3 Call of Duty games. We're only going to be focusing on what most people refer to as the modern Call of Duty games. So the first modern Call of Duty game that Treyarch released was Call of Duty World at War. World at War was released in 2008, and although it has a niche and almost cult-like following, many would consider it to be almost the red-headed stepchild of the Call of Duty franchise. While Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare brought about revolutionary change to the franchise and forever changed the way that it would be viewed, World at War had a number of unique characteristics to it that most fans will just never forget. Considered to be the most raw and gritty game in the franchise, the game featured blood and gore, including but not limited to limbs flying off of bodies when people got shot, player models screaming bloody murder, and horrific music all in one. The game had this very dark and terrifying vibe to it that is just simply not present in current Call of Duty games anymore. World at War was also the first and so far the only title in the entire franchise to feature vehicular combat with the addition of tanks. Tanks would prove to be the main innovation of the multiplayer component, with large maps that featured unconventional and seemingly random design elements when compared with today's standard Call of Duty map design. It's worth noting that although this video is mainly about the multiplayer components of World at War, it did feature a fantastically brutal campaign, and it was also the start of Nazi zombies and zombies in general, which have proven to be a crucial element of Call of Duty titles going forward. Call of Duty Black Ops was the next game in the series that Treyarch released and eventually proved to be the most popular sub-franchise in the entire series, eventually surpassing total units sold on the beloved Modern Warfare series. Black Ops was the only game that ever explored the Cold War era, and to say the least, Treyarch just did a hell of a job on it. While the campaign was compelling and interesting and had a massive plot twist at the end, the multiplayer portion of the game was an experience that no other Call of Duty title has been able to even come close to replicating. The game featured maps that were set in the cities and jungles of Vietnam, the snow-covered landscapes of Siberia and the Soviet Union, and the beaches and tropical climates of Cuba. This mix of historic maps made for a very diverse player experience, but the maps weren't the only great thing about Black Ops. In addition to great maps, the game featured some of the most iconic kill streaks in the entire series, like the Chopper Gunner and the Attack Dogs. Anyone that's played the game knows that there is no bigger rush than getting these kill streaks. While the weapons of Black Ops varied greatly, it's worth noting that the game featured the gun that many would consider the best weapon in the history of Call of Duty, the FAMAS. Who could ever forget the FAMAS? This gun was just an absolute monster of an assault rifle, and although it did get nerfed, it is still the best gun in the game to this day, and those of us that used it pre-nerf will never, ever forget the power of the FAMAS. The game also featured other iconic weapons that would never return in the series again, including the Commando and the Galil, amongst many others as well, but those weapons were often overshadowed because the dominating guns in this game just dominated. Black Ops took everything that made Modern Warfare 2 great, but consolidated it down into a less crazy and more tactical environment, giving players a very close to perfectly balanced experience that met in the middle of the likes of Call of Duty 4, Modern Warfare 2, and World at War all in one. So what do you do when you release one of the most successful games in history? Of course, you make a sequel. Black Ops 2 was released in 2012 and brought about some of the most permanent and notable changes the series had ever seen, which still exist in Call of Duty today. Although it was not the first game to technically be set in the future, it was set far enough in the future to the point where it gave the developers some creative liberty in weapons, equipment, and streaks. Black Ops 2 marked the beginning of standard 3-lane map design, which became the standard later down the road for other games, with some of the most beloved maps in Call of Duty history, including Raid, Hijacked, and Standoff. In addition to 3-lane map design, Treyarch brought what some fans would consider the most important change to ever occur in Call of Duty with the Pick-10 system. The Pick-10 system gave radical change and new freedoms to players that were used to using the standard creative class system up until Black Ops 2. This system would later be used not only by Treyarch themselves again, but also Infinity Ward and Sledgehammer Games in their future titles since it was so well loved. League play was another element that really created and solidified the competitive scene in Call of Duty, since now all the sweaty tryhard players had a place to all hang out and play together. together. While other smaller innovations included things like diamond camo, score streaks replacing kill streaks in order to encourage objective play, and making the ghost perk so your player had to be moving for it to be active, Black Ops 2 is widely regarded as the most balanced Call of Duty game of all time. The map design and weapon choice made for endless combinations for playstyles to choose from, and you could give a good player virtually any weapon and they could do well with it. Overall, Black Ops 2 was a huge success and beloved by millions of players to this day. It is one of the most highly requested games to be remastered in Call of Duty. Black Ops 3 released in 2015, and much to the surprise of many fans, the game was set in the year 2065 and featured the signature movement system of thrust jumping and wall running. But you know how the old saying goes, they're not selling you a game, they're selling you a name. And Black Ops 3's installation into the Black Ops series was probably largely responsible for the game selling so well. Well, it turns out that, in addition to the name, the game just simply had great, smooth, and fun gameplay, even with the advanced movement system. One reason for this is that Treyarch was extremely careful to make sure that the map design fit the movement system, while still making sure to incorporate the now widely expected 3-lane map design with power positions and choke points. The map design still allowed good players to dominate while bad players suffered, which many say is the way that it should be. Gameplay was extremely fast and fun, which earned Black Ops 3 the reputation of everything that an arcade shooter should strive to be. In addition to all this, the game was also the first to feature specialists, each with their own unique backstory and abilities that you could choose from. While some perceived specialist abilities to be part of the everyone gets a trophy mentality, they were balanced in such a way that even when bad players used them, it didn't turn them into gods or anything like that. One drawback of the game, and what many players consider to be the worst thing about it, is that it was heavily criticized for its casino-style supply drop system. This supply drop system featured pure RNG, which featured ranged weapons that were all left completely up to luck. There was no way to outright get a weapon that you were after, which many considered to be pay to win, and there are certainly arguments to be had on both sides about that. Nonetheless, 3 years after its release, Black Ops 3 is still extremely popular to players both in real life and for content creators and streamers. So what is ahead for Treyarch in the Black Ops series? Black Ops 4 was revealed to the world in early 2018, and many, if not all, of the major innovations have been revealed thus far. The game will feature a setting that occurs between Black Ops 2 and Black Ops 3, but it is a boots-on-the-ground combat game with the exception of the knee slide and the Ruin Specialist grappling hook. In addition, specialists are returning, but this time they are said to play a much more important role in a team-oriented focus. Multiplayer matches have changed for the first time ever from 6v6 to 5v5, which some say is a competitive element, along with the addition of set recoil patterns on weapons. There are some familiar elements like the Pick-10 system, which is returning, but there are also other major changes, such as manual health regeneration, which many players were skeptical about at first, but those who have played the game so far have said that it's not really that bad of a thing. However, one of the main selling points of the game, and one of the portions that players are talking about the most, isn't the Black Ops 4 multiplayer, but the all-new Battle Royale mode called Blackout. Right now, there is very little confirmed information about Blackout, except that it exists and will feature squad play with elements from all the other Black Ops titles with vehicles in combat. In addition to this info, there is no shortage of alleged leaks floating around the internet from people claiming to have inside sources, but none of those leaks have been confirmed by an official source publicly. And that, guys, is a brief but thorough history of the evolution of Call of Duty titles developed by Treyarch. I would like to know from everyone watching this, what was your favorite game on this list and why? Let me know down in the comments below. And do you think Black Ops 4 is going to live up to what Treyarch has already put out? Always interested to read others' opinions, so guys, leave it down below. Thank you so much for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, remember to leave a thumbs up. And if you're new, subscribe to this channel for more Call of Duty content from all titles, both current and past. Shoot me a follow over on Twitter to get stream updates for Twitch and over here on YouTube. And I will see you guys in the next video. Peace out.